I want to talk from the book of Genesis, chapter 22. And what I want to talk about is this matter of obedience and sacrifice. Because I think that it may be all of life's actions, now that's a whole lot, all of life's actions at some point they rest on a decision of whether you're making a sacrifice or whether you're doing it out of obedience. So you may be seated because I want to read a few verses down through there. All of life's actions, perhaps. I cannot say all because I have not experienced all. But I can say all that I have experienced falls somewhere in the crucible, in the vessel of either obeying something or sacrifice in trying to achieve something. And I think that's the burden of this younger generation, whatever younger generation entails. I think that's the burden of the thinking of life nowadays in this age. Am I doing this because there is some law, there's some eternal, unfettered, unmovable law somewhere that I'm adhering to? Or am I doing this to achieve something? Let me come at it another way. Is the gift that I get, is it more important than the giver that gave it? Is the education that you're getting, is it more important than your mama who paid for it? Obedience and sacrifice. Now the record is here in this 22nd chapter of Genesis. You read it when you go home. Don't read it when you get time. Read it when you go home. Take time, make time. Make time for what's good for you. In this 22nd chapter of Genesis, my son preached from this last year, but he didn't say everything about it. Said some good things, but he didn't say everything. In this record, here in the 22nd chapter of Genesis, it starts out, it begins, and it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, now remember it says, and God did tempt, not Satan. God did tempt Abraham. And he said, Take now thy son. In the beginning it says, after these things. Now these things are the record that Abraham was over 100 years of age. His wife was 90 some odd years of age. Ordinarily, women that age are not able to carry a child. I won't say men are not able to pass the seed on. This is ordinarily. However, they desired a child. They desired a child, a son. And God blessed him with a son at this late age. So that's what's contained in after these things. See, that's what's coming up to this. So all of this woman's life, 99 years, and Abraham 100 and something, without a son that they wanted, desired. And so after these things, the boy grows up, and I'm sure the boy was obedient and so forth, and nice and developing and so forth. And they loved the boy, and they were happy, you know, they have this son. Abraham has a valid heir, and I'm sure Abraham was making plans, saying this boy's going to carry on this, he's going to be able to work the farm, and he's going to do this, and if I have other children and so forth, he'll be able to manage things, and if something happens to me, he'll be able to take care of my wife. Oh, Abraham making all kinds of plans. You men know about that. I made all kinds of plans. When my children were growing up, this boy was this, my oldest son here this morning, and I kind of put in him the boss attitude. You are the oldest, and you're supposed to look after them. You're responsible for Donnie. And then Lynn was born, and I put that burden on him. And then Toby was born, my youngest son. But I always asked my questions, if I would call, of him. I expected of him the leadership of the family. And if anything had happened to me before my wife passed, I was expecting him. I don't care who he married or what obligation he had. I expected him to see after my wife and these children, to give them direction. And so my guess is that Abraham was making plans for Isaac, his son. The boy gets up in age. I don't know how old he is. Must have been a teenager, so forth. So God speaks to him all down, and read it when you get home. And God says to him, you made some great plans, Abraham, and I'm happy about it, but here's what I want you to do. Take now thy son, thine only son, thine only son, Isaac, whom thou lovest. He's the only one, and you love the boy. This is not some straggler came in. This is not somebody came off the street, somebody lost or something. Thine only son. And get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering. Abraham had never been to Moriah, didn't know where it was probably. He said, I want to take this boy and go over there to Moriah and offer him there for a burnt offering, not just an offering, a burnt offering. You know, don't lay him down nice and perfume him up. They're going to burn this boy. Going to burn him up. A burnt offering upon one of the mountains. Why a particular mountain? Why just say over there somewhere on a mountain? The mountain which I will tell thee of. I will. So I'm not just sending you somewhere and leaving you alone on your own. I will tell you. Take your only son that I gave you, that I allowed your wife to carry, and allowed you to develop the boy and grow up and send him to school and just make plans for him. Take this boy. Take this boy. He's nice. He's proportioned. He doesn't have any ailments. and so forth. Take this boy, nice boy. Got a good mind. Good mind. Appreciates beautiful things. I want you to take this boy. Looks like he's going to be a good athlete, going to quarterback. And Seahawks will need him. Yeah. Take this boy. Go over there. Take him on the mountain. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, saddled his ass, took 2 of his young men with him. Saddled his ass. That's his horse now. It's not his ass. That's his ass. Took 2 of his young men with him, Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went unto the place of which God had told him. The 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. Abraham said unto his young men who were with him, his servants, you all stayed here with the boy. You all stay here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come again to you. Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went, both of them, together. I'm sure in the boy's mind, he must be getting a little curious. You're leaving these men back here. We're going to make a sacrifice. Apparently, this is not the first time he's done this. So the boy kind of knows something go with something. And I noticed something ordinarily is missing. The sacrifice is missing. Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, my father, son. And he said, here am I, son. And he said, I see the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb for a burnt offering? What you going to use this time? You know, we've been up here before, and all before you brought something, brought an animal, and you brought it up here, and we sacrificed it and worshiped. You told me about this and that and the other, and the communion and so forth, sacrificing. But I noticed something. Have you forgotten something? Forgotten something, and where's the lamb for a burnt offering? Abraham said, son, God will provide himself a lamb. Now, does he mean God will provide himself as a lamb? Or God himself will provide a lamb? God himself, will provide a lamb. Daddy will provide for my tuition. Will Daddy provide himself? Will he take all that stuff on the job? Will he provide himself? God will provide himself. I don't know. A lamb for a burnt offering. That may be the answer this morning. Maybe the answer this morning. God asked the prophets and the others to do this and do that. But we discovered, not he, that the prophets couldn't quite pull it. So God may have said, I'm jumping to the end, God may have said, I'll have to provide myself. I think that's the point. I've got to provide myself. And that's why we have this communion table this morning. And the question you want to run right alongside there is, are you willing? Are you willing? A lamb for a burnt offering. The Bible says, so they went, both of them, together. They came to the place which God that told them of, and Abraham built an altar there. I'm saying to myself, you building this altar, and every time you strike a nail into this wood, I'm wondering what's going in through your mind. What am I building this for? What's going to be on here? And you're saying, I know, but the boy doesn't know. Now, I don't know in your life, those of you who are parents, if you ever grieve sometime because you know some stuff your children don't know. You want to tell them sometimes. If I were you, I wouldn't. You wanted that, but you don't want it. You don't want to tell them because they seem so happy over what they want to do, and you want to tell them. If I were you, I'd take another thought. Abraham nailing on that altar, building that offer, and in the back of his mind, saying all the time, what's going to happen after I build this offering and build this fire? What's the next step? Something got to go on here. And every time he lifts that hammer to put that nail in that wood, he's driving a nail in his own head, in his own flesh. He laid the wood on the altar. Then it says he bound Isaac, his son. It's interesting. The boy doesn't show any resistance all the way up there. The boy got to be thinking, him and me. No, he's not going on off. And the servants have left back there. We don't have any animal, anything. It's boiling down to me. And the Bible says Abraham bound Isaac, his son. Now, if I were to ask every man in here today, do you have what it takes to bind your son? And you're going to offer him up for a burnt offering. Him. Wouldn't you rather get on there yourself if you love your son? Wouldn't you rather, you women, wouldn't you rather tell your daughter, let me take this, My daughter's here had serious cancer complications and everything. She had surgery last year and then all the chemotherapy and everything. And my wife passed from same cancer. The doctor went in, did surgery and everything. And I asked the Lord some kind of way, can't you give it to me? I'm old. Can't you give it to me? The girl is young. Her life before. She's been to school. Can't you give it to me? Let me get on the altar. Members would ask me, how's Lynn? And so forth. And so forth. Abraham bound the boy, tied him up. Never a word from the boy. Put the boy on the altar. And the Bible says he took a knife, drew back to slay the boy. Well, what you going to do? You going to be obedient? Or you're going to go ahead and offer the sacrifice? You're going to be obedient or go ahead and offer the sacrifice? Draws back the knife and he hears a voice. Here's a voice saying, don't do that. What do you mean, don't do that? Well, he really doesn't say don't do it. He says hold the knife. Hold it. Don't throw it away. Just hold it. Hold it there. And he says there's a ram caught in the bush. Caught in the bush. He's caught. You don't have to go look for him. You don't go have to hire somebody. You don't have to call your telephone. You don't have to call your neighbor. What you need is caught. God help me this month. I've been there troubled about this and that and the other. But what I needed was cult. Oh, when you live right, I'm almost through now. But I tell you, when you live right and when you're obedient, what you need is cult. Cult. Can't get away. Even if it tries, it can't get away. It's cult. You want to look for a life of obedience because it will provide for you what you need. What you need. May I say 2 or 3 short things? First of all life consists of whether you're going to obey to somebody, some rule, something. You must decide whether whatever you have, you possess it or do you think you own it. One of the problems of this age is we have a possessing age. That's why you can't afford to lose anything. A man takes a handful of cigars and in a store, goes outside, the man kills him. Or the man who took the cigars, he possessed them. The man who killed him thought he owned his life. You wouldn't kill a man over cigars. You wouldn't kill a 175-pound man with 50 more normal years to live and thousands of dollars to make and maybe create something that will benefit the whole world. You wouldn't kill him over a handful of cigars. But you think you own him. You wouldn't kill a boy and shoot him in the back with a sack with some Gatorade and some potato chips in it unless you think you own him. You wouldn't kill a man over selling a $2 cigarette, put a chokehold on him and bring 6 men to down him, and you gonna kill the man because you think you own him. I'm here to tell you, God created the heaven and earth. God made man. Nobody has a right to take anybody's life, and especially over something which is really under something. That's the first thing we need to realize. Second thing we need to realize is, since we don't own anything, we're under orders. If you've been in the army, it's not yours to question the command. It's yours to carry it out. You're in the army. If you're a human being, you're in a human army. And God has made the rules. I don't care what they tell you. God has made the rules. I'm in my 89th year. I'm here to tell you, God has made the rules. After all of these years, looks like I ought to be able to decide something on my own. Wife asks me every morning, you want to dry cereal or cook cereal? I said, whatever is quickest and fastest and closest to you. Look like I ought to be able to make a decision over cereal. But I find out when I get to dry cereal, I wish I had to cook cereal. When I get to cook cereal, I wish I had to dry cereal. I cannot go all day without changing my mind. That tells me right there I don't own anything. The Lord is the creator. God gives the orders. And finally, why do you want to learn to be obedient? Because the one who gives the orders is the one who is the final supplier. Every gift you get at some point is going to give out. Going to wear out. You're going to lose it. You come to a place in your life you don't know where it is. You don't know what the proper use of it is. You know, you can't find out, what did I do with this? Where are my glasses? You know, and you looking through your glasses and can't find your glasses. Everything is going to break down at some time. I'm 89 and I'm still swinging, but my ball not going as far as it used to. I'm seeing, had eye surgery 2 weeks ago. They put a new lens in this eye. Now I can see out of this eye with no glasses, but when I put the glasses on, I can't see out of the eye. Everything is breaking down. Heaven and earth may pass away, but my word, I'm true now. My word, when Abraham decided to obey God, everything else fell into place. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. Obedience better than sacrifice. It may look like you know what you're doing. May look like this will benefit you. But I'm here to tell you, take it to God. Whatever God prescribes, be best in your benefit. Drew the knife back. The angel did not tell him get rid of it. He just told him, hold it. Hold it. What does that mean? Whatever it is that you've been using, you think you need to use, you don't need to throw it away. The opportunity may come again for another sacrifice. But if you know the Lord, go down in the water one time. You don't have to go down anymore after today. One time. I've been dipped in the water. Yes. But I came up one time. And the Lord told me, I'll be with you always, even till the end of the world. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. Soon be cut down and wither as the green herb. The Lord is still on the throne. Everything is all right. May the Lord bless you, keep you. Make the right choice. Make the right choice. Worship the giver and not the gift. That's what Jesus did. God told him, go down there. Go down there, give your life. And we have opportunity to worship communion this morning. But I think we need to look past the communion and thank the God who had the nerve enough or whatever it was to send his son. I'm trying to quit, but my soul is happy. God took what was most precious. Now here's what I got to close on. Some point in your life, maybe you haven't come there yet, but some point in every believer's life, the most precious thing you have got to be sacrificed. At some point in a believer's life, if you want to be like Jesus, the most precious, the best son, the best daughter, your best laid plans got to be sacrificed. You're getting ready to build a new building. At some point, the best dollar that you plan to do something forever with, God is going to call for it. The question is, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to put on the altar your son? That's the question. Obedience or sacrifice? If you're not a believer this morning, I'm lifting it up to you. You want the best in life? Come here. Get a preacher your hand. Give God your heart. God will provide for you. If you're not a believer this morning, you've never been to the water, come this morning. I'm telling you, you got to make the final decision at some point. Obedience or sacrifice. God will make you able if you trust and never doubt.